Good morning. Welcome to the Daily Huddle. I'm excited and I'm nervous. It's where Kimberly and I are, as you guys know, if you were here last week, new co-hosts for the Money Mondays. And we're very excited to be here and be a part of this family. And so I'm taking the reins for the first time, but I got a great support team here looking at me. So I don't feel like I'm by myself at all. So I want to start out like we do in the tradition of the Daily Huddle with a quote, and this one is it's a little deep. You got to think about it for a second, but from a guy named Napoleon Hill. Some of you guys may have heard of him before. He said, "There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought." So as we go into today.
That's a little deep.
We are excited about this.
Good morning, everybody. Zach, can you read our quote of the day again? It's a little deeper than it probably should be, but I'm going to have him read that one more time so we can all wrap our heads around it.
Well, we talk about mindset, and so there are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought.
Told you it's deep.
So what's our question of the day?
So our question of the day is, do you have a money-making mindset? I think it's really important, right, to think about our mindset when we talk about making money, about our life, about our future, and just how all of that works. So do you have a money-making mindset? That's what we want you guys to think about today and really focus on as we talk.
So as we get started, we have some questions, right? All right, so let's start. How about this? Andrea, what time is it? And what are you grateful for today?
Yes, the time is now, Zach, and I am grateful for Mondays. I really like Mondays, so I'm grateful for them.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
I like Mondays too.
All right, Kimberly, where are you and who will you hug today?
I'm here and I will hug Rhonda today. We can thank Rhonda for us being on this Daily Huddle. And I will see her in Georgia today, so I get to hug her. So I'm super excited.
All right. And Rashida, how are you?
Good morning. Good morning. I am in the universe mind and I love it where I am.
That's it. You are exactly how you say you are, right? So be aware of that as we talk about mindset. So let's get started. Let's talk about this. We have a lot of things and we'll go back and forth about. And Kimberly and I, even though we are in our own separate Hollywood squares, are in the same space with each other. So we're working through our visual on how this works. But we have talked a lot about the difference in mindset between and money and how it's made. So Kimberly, we've got some bullet points over there. Why don't you get started for us?
Well, I think first of all, it's important to introduce ourselves, right? So I'm Kimberly Otey. This is my husband, Zach, right here in his Hollywood Square, wherever that may be on your screen. And we have been in the financial services business for 20 years now. So it's important, I think, for you guys to know that as we go forward talking about the money mindset. For us, it is totally developed over the course of our lives, right? Our career has been our life, and it's been our life together. So that's kind of interesting. I think that doesn't always happen that way, but we've grown up together. So that money mindset, something that we've always talked about and we've always thought about. We were really fortunate when we were really young, right? We were young dreamers, and that's really who we were and what we were. And we met in college, and I remember we were driving to see my grandmother in Elberton, Georgia, if anybody knows where that small town is. And, we were talking, as kids do, right? Who do you want to be when you grow up? What does that look like? What do we want to do? And the world was our oyster. We could do anything. And so we really started dreaming and thinking about options and possibilities, but we didn't know, we didn't have the avenue, right, to make anything happen. We were just dreaming, and we were just thinking, and we were just hoping that one day something would be possible. But I think through all of those dreams and all of those goals, we looked for multiple opportunities. Again, we were in college, so we were college students, and we were going to get our traditional degrees. And both of us were in the School of Education and finished and became school teachers at first. And that's really where our traditional career took us, right? But our entrepreneurial, can you say that word? Can you help me out with that word? Career really started, I would say, when we met, I was 19. Yeah. When I was 19 and Zack was 21, really started then, because it started in our mind, and it started by looking at different opportunities and different businesses and really learning, reading those books. I was talking to Sorrel just a minute ago about all the books behind them. And we've read a lot of those books, because in order to do anything different, I think you have to work on your mind first, right? You want to add to some of that?
Well, so as far as bringing value to you guys this morning in this thought process about a money-making mindset, I want you to realize there are a couple of different mindsets, and we just don't really realize that. And one of those is the mindset of an employee, and the other one is the mindset of an entrepreneur. And you look at money in a very different lens, through a very different lens. Money for an employee is very finite. It's something that you get a certain amount of each time it's supposed to be deposited in your account. If you show up for work, you know exactly how much you're going to make and when it's going to show up there. And the other one is money can be almost infinite. And I think that opportunity to make money and the realization that you have it, just like other people that you see that are making money, right? So you have to see that piece right there and understand that money's not finite as far as your potential to earn it. And that was what we realized, is that we were spending a lot of time trying to make our budget stretch. And we've had some great conversations about that. Tell them about the percentage of time that we realize most people spend.
So most people, like Zack said, we know how much our income is, right? We know what's coming in every single month, and we know what we have to spend. So most people spend 95% of their time looking at their budget, right? And they sit down and they look at their budget and they try to figure out, where maybe we cut the cable bill, if anybody has cable anymore, right? Maybe we can tweak our cell phone bills. Maybe we can cut out our subscriptions. But at some point in time, in order to make big shifts in our financial future, we have to make more money, because the money that we have will only go so far. I have a great story about a lady that worked with us, and she's one of my most favorite people. But it's also a great story of when she shifted from the employee mindset to the entrepreneur mindset. So she was a school teacher, but at a private school, so a little different than a public school. And she was great at what she did. Absolutely amazing. And we had become friends, and we were talking through things, and she kind of worked with us part-time. And she went into her principal and she said, I need a raise. I need to make more money. And he said, well, as much as I love you, as great as I think you are, there is no more money for me to give you. Your job pays X amount of dollars, and you're getting X amount of dollars. And it still actually gives me chills. But she said that day, she said, I decided right then and there that I would never let anybody determine my worth again. And to me, that was just like super powerful, like literally still gives me chills, because she changed her entire shift, and she changed her entire focus from allowing someone to put a ceiling right on her income to deciding to take control of her financial future. And I think that's what we want you guys to think about today, is understanding that increasing your cash flow, which is step one in our financial services, like talking to people, talking to families, creating their plan. Step one is increasing your cash flow. What can we do with that? Some of that absolutely comes from budgeting, right? Some of that comes from sitting down, looking at what you have going out, what you have coming in, and managing that, because that's just allows us to be good stewards of our money, right? But ultimately, you should do that once a year, right? Maybe once every 6 months, but really once a year, because the majority of your expenditures don't really change. So setting that budget as once a year. So obviously increasing cash flow, one way to do that is managing the money that you already have. But the second way to do that is to make more money. So I want you guys to really think about, how does that work? What are your options? What are your possibilities? What are your opportunities? And I think, fortunately for all of us, today we have so many different options. Some of you guys might have heard of Gary Vee, and you might like him, you might hate him, but he always talks about how easy it is. It's like, just go to yard sales, go buy something for $0.25 and sell it for $5, right? There are so many different ways to make extra income. And now we have social media, and now we have Zoom, and now we have everything virtual that we didn't have before. So I think that it's a great window of opportunity to really go out and think differently about increasing your income.
Absolutely. And we talk about a mindset for making money. And that's what when I look around the world, I look around and see what people are doing, what they're successful with. I love reading articles about startup companies and ideas. We talk a lot about industry disruption and how that they take an industry that's already there. Uber didn't create the taxi cab industry. They just completely disrupted it, right? They're the largest taxi company and they own no cars. I think they do own cars now, but that's a whole different thing. They just lease them to their drivers. But that comes from the mindset of making money. When I look out at things that are finite in our days, and we're talking to people through the process of increasing cash flow, what is something that we all have the same amount of at the start of every single day? Nobody has more than anyone else.
Time.
Right? Time. It's exactly. And we're all on an even playing field with time. So when someone you see is successful, it just means, in my opinion, their money mindset allows them to manage that time and budget that time in a way that makes it effective. One of the most important things that I ever saw about my time on a daily basis was I always feel busy and I think I don't have time. And then I realized I have 24 hours in a day, right? And if I take 8 hours for work, if I have a traditional job, I take 8 hours for sleep because I've got to do that to survive. Most of the time I don't sleep 8 hours, but then that leaves me 8 hours left. If I could take some of that, which I should, and spend it having some peaceful time for myself or doing things with my family or seeing my kids' sports, those kind of things, I could probably shave out an extra 3 to 4 hours a day to focus on making money in a different avenue. And then things can shift. So that mindset of I can, and I do have what it takes to make extra money, and then that'll open the eyes. You'll ask, Kimberly just laughs at me all the time. We have an account with one of the URL providers. It's Namecheap is the one we use. I don't really care who you like or whatever, but I have a massive catalog of URLs because I'm constantly thinking about business ideas. I'm thinking
anytime we're somewhere and he's like, and then he goes to his phone, I'm like, oh, he's buying the website. Like, do not say anything around him because he's buying the website. He's creating it. He's buying it. He's making it happen. They might just sit there, but it's a great idea.
and then we're big proponents of multiple streams of income. A lot of people are running Airbnbs and buying investment properties and those kind of things. And I think that when you open your eyes to the potential opportunities that are out there, and you give yourself the permission to seek those opportunities, I think that's when the increasing cash flow can actually start. Whether it be a promotion at work, that's creating cash flow. With giving yourself the belief that you deserve it, and giving yourself the gumption, if you will, to go ask for it. You may or may not get it, but if you don't ask, you won't ever get it. So
That's what we tell our kids is, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So ask, right? The worst you'll hear is no. But a lot of times you'll hear yes, just by asking. And one of the things that I want all of you guys to think about is success is literally just a decision, right? Sometimes we can make it a quick decision, and sometimes it takes us a long time to get there to decide that we're going to do something. But when we decide and when we make that decision, nobody can stop you, right? Honestly, like, think through just life in general. When was the last time that you really, 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 really wanted something that you didn't get it? Most people, if they want it bad enough, figure out a way to make that happen, right? So I think for money mindset and talking about increasing your cash flow, I think really it's thinking about why, right? Thinking about thinking about what's driving you and what you want out of life. So you have those reasons to go out and really put in that different mindset and those different, thoughts and work and things like that.
Yeah, and I will spend a lot of time talking about mindset. We do this with our people. I do it with our children all the time. And one of the things that I think drives everything about our day and about how we function. I have a graphic that I wish I'd thought to pull up, but it talks about in business flow, in your daily business, it's a circle, and everything comes from the mindset and the attitude, if you will, about how you approach things. A positive attitude in the morning is going to give you positive movement in that direction. So, and I know we all come from a very, the hosts that are on here come from different places, and we're just getting to know you guys. But I would like to have some feedback from you guys about your experiences of seeing that financial piece from a different light. For us, it was one of those moments that wasn't really a moment. I think we grew up together, so we were still having those conversations of we can do anything. We never felt like we couldn't.
And I think literally when we were young, when we were in college, we joined Amway, right? And so we had those business building mindsets and thought processes and stuff when we were very formidable, right? Like, put into our brain. And Zack sold rainbow vacuum cleaners because I really liked them and I wanted a free one, so he had to go sell them. Because we couldn't afford it. We were in college, but I mean, we had all of those different non-traditional businesses, really, right, that shaped our mindset, that allowed us to think differently, that ultimately wasn't the career path that we chose, but because we always were trying something or thinking about something, then it allowed us to move forward in the direction that we've chosen in our life. So
all right, well, Cece, I see your hands up.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the conversation. What transitioned me from the mindset of employee, that meant job, was that I wasn't able to make enough to cover for basic needs because something would, emergency, and I didn't have savings and all kind of stuff. But anyway, I learned from the different network marketing groups, leadership. I learned that I had transition myself from becoming a salesperson, which, I was a salesperson for all these organizations, and thinking like a leader as an entrepreneur. And that was a process that took me a lot of years, but today I see the multiplication, and it's just a process, changing products, just getting quiet with God to learn what to do, not just go and copy somebody, but to listen to the people who are very prosperous in this area. So thank you so much for the conversation. I pass.
Yeah, well, thank you for contributing. I think that's what I love about business in general, is the ability to grow and develop and become leaders. And, fortunately, I think it's something that never stops. I think continuing to learn and grow it absolutely feeds me. I know it feeds Zack and probably most of you guys as well. Gio, can I call on you for a minute?
Yes.
You're like, sure, of course you can. So I've read a few of your things, and we don't really know each other very well yet, right? But I've read a few of your things on Facebook, and you've talked about, transitioning from that income ceiling. So what's your story as far as transitioning from employee to entrepreneur, or at least because you're a coach, right? Is that what you do now?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so can you talk about that just a little bit with us?
Yeah, it's a little bit about business strategies and leadership development coach. And what really created one of the first paradigms was Rich Dad Poor Dad book. That's the first one that created a paradigm for me. And it didn't repel me from going to school. I love school. I love learning, and it is the challenges that school brings to the mind. The intellectual stimulation is the one that gave me now the possibility of being a difference to others. However, there was a real click that the book points towards being open to discovering the wealth that it is in the world, not just into one field. And I would say that's the very beginning. But the thing that made the most difference, and it's what I was sharing the other day with Sorel in the previous Daily Huddle, was that I, through a different mentor whose name is Jeff, I discovered for myself, it went from being a good quote to actually seeing it for me, that I will never achieve my highest dreams. I will only achieve my lowest standards. And I had to confront what was my lowest standards and what was the lowest I would allow myself to be. And I needed to raise my lowest standards. And so for a long time, my lowest standards were really low numbers. And until I broke through that was when I demanded more of myself.
That I've never heard that. I have a whole different perspective now. We encourage people to dream and to stretch their dreams, but we don't focus on the low end. We don't focus on what they will allow themselves, where they will allow themselves to rest, where they will allow themselves to settle. And that's a powerful way to think about that. When you say, I'm never going to achieve my highest dreams, I'm only going to achieve my lowest standards for myself. You got to bring those two closer together, right? So either you reduce your dreams to your lowest standards, or you hold yourself accountable and raise those lower standards.
And I think sometimes in life, the older we get, or the more that life has taught us, right, that the harder that is to break through those dreams and those lower standards and really believe that it's possible. So I think the older we get, there's a lot of mind work that has to happen, right, to really think about, what can we do? What is possible? Do I really do I need it? Is that unreasonable? And I think we're all in that same boat, but that is, I saw Zack writing it down. So I know we'll have it later, and we'll have it on recording as well. So
all right, Chase, I see your hand up, and then Sorel will come to you.
We'll talk about the Facebook question too.
Okay.
Chase?
Sorel, why don't you go ahead and go? Just unmute, and then we'll see if Chase comes back around here in a second.
Hey, Chase, you're on mute.
Okay. Wow.
There he is.
There he is.
Sorry about that. Grand day, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. Wow. So much stuff to say. I'm going to try and capsulize it as much as possible. Really, my whole journey started out with Awaken the Giant Within when I was 18. That book knocked me on my butt. I was 18 reading Awaken the Giant Within, and the Tony Robbins things just kind of literally just went into my brain like so quickly. It was incredible. But really what I want to say is the reason why I became so successful and went from an employee mindset to a leader and owner mindset is just asking the questions. I was being led by people who weren't leaders. And I saw it. I saw it right in front of me. I'm like, this guy's leading me? I don't understand. What is he doing? So I started to ask the questions. I'm a musician. I was working for a major company. I went straight from a tour of a Broadway musical into a major company. I was placed into it. My musical director said, when you get to New York, call this guy and he's going to put you in the company. I said, how do you know? He said, just do what I tell you to do. You're going to be in the company. He was right. I went on an audition. The guy said, I'm putting you in my band, like literally in the same week. I was like, wow, how did you know that? He goes, I know you. I know what your capability is and I know what he wants. And you're the guy. I said, great, wonderful. So I got into the band and then I realized they were paying me based on the what's the word? The basic scale of being in the musicians union. I said, wow, someone's telling me what I'm worth. That's not, I don't like that. That's not good. So it took me like about a year to learn all the rules. And I just asked the questions. And the questions were, what is this guy doing that you can't do? How does he book the party? How does he get the players? How does he pay them? How does he decide what's paying them? As soon as I answered all those questions, I was out of there. I was like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do that, and I could do that. When they called me again, I said, oh, you were paying me 400 before? My rate is 800 now, actually. So if you need me, call me up. They were like, oh, okay. And then I started my own company and I went from, making $800 a gig to making $3,500 a gig. I'm the leader, right? I'm the leader. I'm making all the decisions now. I'm like, wow. So I wanted to say, ask the questions to yourself. Why are the people around you more successful? And in the words of Tony Robbins, when you see somebody that's more successful than you, then look at what they're doing and model their behavior as you go forward. And then you can't not change. You have to change. You're modeling another perspective. You're modeling another kind of concentration that's different from yours. And nowadays, I'm just not interested in being led by people who are not leaders, right? The boss and the leader are two different people. So that's why I'm here with you guys, because you guys are leaders. I appreciate you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. Great points. So Kimberly, we had a Facebook question you wanted to address, and then we'll let Sorrell give us his input.
I do. So we had a Facebook question from Stacy Robinson. She said, what if you love your career, but you can make so much more and have more control by leaving it? And I think those are all valid questions. Do you want to say your thoughts, or you want me to say my thoughts?
I mean, I think
all of the above.
It's a big question and big answer all the way around. So if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. We've all heard that, right? So I think really from that perspective, it's about managing what that career does for you, the other aspects of your life. If you love what you do because you bring value or because you enjoy that process, does it really take you where you want to go in life long term to stay? If that enjoyment and that fulfillment is there, then great. Book hour.
And it's okay to love your career. It's okay to be an employee, right? Like that's okay too. If that fulfills you, absolutely awesome. Sorry, I know I interrupted.
But no, I mean, I read a book, and I'll be quick, called Focal Point years ago by a guy named Brian Tracy. And I love coaching soccer. I was pretty good at it, won a lot of games and had a lot of fun. It was very fulfilling for me. But I realized that it was not taking me where I wanted to go long term, but it was taking a lot of my time and a lot of my energy, and I needed to readjust that thought process. And so that's what I did. That may or may not be the same case for you, but that's a great question. So, all right, Sorrell, I know we're clock's ticking. So
30 seconds. I just want to say thank you. This whole conversation confronted me, especially when you said the older you are, the more mind work you may need to do. But here's what I'm taking away, and I want to share it. I'm taking away that having a money-making mindset isn't something that I was born with. As a matter of fact, I was raised in an environment where it was a money scraping and a money saving mindset. And really, so, like I pride myself in being a good budgeter, right? That's how I grew up.
Yeah.
And I'm connecting the dots with what you're saying. And I'm seeing for myself that, having a money mindset doesn't have to be something you're born with. It's something you can cultivate. And what I heard you say is that I can continue to cultivate that. And anyone can cultivate that wherever you are. by giving myself the permission to dream up opportunities to make more money. And then go for it. Just
All-
do it
all
every
they can
day.
say
It's
is
it's
no,
a it's a
right?
habit. It's a
It is a
habit.
habit. It is.
It's a habit. Yeah. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Kimberly.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you all.
you. Absolutely.
All right. Well,
I think that's a great way to wrap up today, to really talk about our mindset and think about where you are right now, and just know, right, is how do we move forward? How do we work on it? And everybody's at a different starting point. So I think that that's what's great, is knowing that it's possible to make changes, and sometimes even small changes make a big difference. So go out there today, define your success, decide what that looks like, and really, start working on your mind, start working on yourself, bathe in that motivation every day, because we all need it, right? Every single day.
and as we close out with our 8 tenets, want to remind everyone, it always helps me and I love it every time I hear it. So number 1, love. Number 2, laugh out loud. Number 3, we could all use stress less. Number 4, eat mostly plant-based. I'm new to that. I'm learning. I love the pieces of that. Number 5, give time, give of yourself, give. Number 6, sleep. You got to rest if you want to function tomorrow. Number 7, move. Get up and move around. When you get up from this meeting, get up and move. And number 8, check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right, guys. With that, what a wonderful morning and a wonderful way to start. Happy Monday. I love Mondays too.
Bye, everybody. See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.